Good morning. I hope you're doing great this morning. I'm in here in the kitchen. I've got a few things I've got to do catching up. It's gray and cloudy outside like it's going to rain again, so I didn't get outside this morning. I've just been in here, and I am not remodeling or doing anything different in my kitchen. I'm just repurposing some space. That's not what this video is about. I'm just hanging out in here this morning. I'm going to make tea. I make iced tea. And so I've got the plastic containers ready for the iced tea. Now I know that some people think you should never use plastics to serve your beverages in, and I know, I understand it. But the whole thing about it is you know, I have 6 grandchildren, 11 and under, all the way down to 7. And glass, a gallon glass pitcher is not... it's not an option right now. We're going to have to use plastic until people get bigger and stronger and able to lift a gallon of glass without it shattering. So I am going to make my iced tea in these 2 plastic containers that I've got here. I have boiled the water here for the iced tea bags to go in. I've probably shared with you how we make iced tea. I keep my tea bags in this little container, and I have Lipton this morning, so that'll be what I'm brewing. I just put 2 family-sized tea bags in here, and I let it steep till it gets you know, good and golden color in here. I'll show you that in a minute. I know a lot of people put a lot more iced tea in there, but this is enough for us to have a refreshing glass of iced tea. So I'm going to let that steep, and I've got my tea kettle already boiling. I'm going to have a cup of Harney & Sons tea this morning. I'm going to have the cinnamon and apple spice. So that's what I'm having this morning as far as tea goes as I get started doing my day. Now I've got my soup bowls out. I've pulled all my soup bowls out here. I've got to find somewhere to put them so that we can get to them, because it'll be time to have soup, chili, all kinds of soup. And of course, you've got some of the fall stuff peeking out because, you know, it's right around the corner. But I'm still enjoying what's left of my summer. Today's coffee cup looks like this. It's just, let's see what the bottom of it says. See what the back stamp looks like. So it's not anything special. A papyrus. And I don't put it in the microwave because it's got metallic paint on it. I love the shiny metallic cups, especially whenever it's getting gray days. Gray days, I like to have a bright and shiny cup. So that's what I'm having this morning. Let's look on the Harney & Sons tea and see what the ingredients are. So our ingredients are green tea, apple pieces, orange peel, cinnamon flavor, apple flavor, cinnamon, honey flavor, cloves, corn flowers, and it contains natural flavors. So we don't know what the natural flavors really are, do we? Okay, I was trying to pick up on my finger. The caffeine content is 40 to 60 milligrams per cup. So that's what's in the cinnamon and apple spice. Ooh, I love this tin. It's pretty. It's a pretty color. And of course, it smells delicious. Get the top of it off. It's hard to get the top of it off because it's sealed up really good, and that's a good thing. And it smells delicious. I can definitely smell the cinnamon. The cinnamon is it's delicious. It's going to be good this morning. Good and flavorful. So I'm having that as my hot tea this morning. My tea pot is heavy. I didn't use the electric teapot this morning. I was in the kitchen. So I just used my regular teapot. Well, you know, this week is me and Donald's anniversary, our 44th wedding anniversary, and we have been celebrating every day in small ways. He brought me home peaches yesterday. Look how beautiful these are. And I had one, of course, after supper last night for dessert. These are beautifully ripe. They're not mushy. They're firm. Look at that beautiful color. And so he brought home this. It was probably, I want to say, a peck of peaches. And I'm going to enjoy these fresh. They're just a deep, rich color. They're from his favorite farm. He's went down towards the coast working, and this is one of his favorite places to stop and get peaches. So he stopped there and brought those for me because I really enjoy these fresh eating. He also brought me these really pretty flowers. He said it wasn't the bunch that he wanted to get because by the time he got by there, there was a lot that was sold out and some people had already left. So he couldn't choose the bouquet he wanted, but I thought this was pretty and I was thankful for those. I love the rich colors. And this looks like maybe something wild and kind of like autumn a little bit. Well, I am going to light this candle because it's a gray day. I trim my wicks. I'll put these wicks in the trash can. I'll just shake this candle holder over the trash can and get these off. If you let those wicks get too long, they'll just burn up your side of your jar and smoke up everything else. Let's see what this candle is. It's herbal sage. I got this candle from Home Goods or either TJ Maxx, but it's got a really good smell, a green smell, and it's great for the summer and for the end of summer. So I'm going to try to burn that up before I start in on my new fall candle. Now I've let this tea steep for a little bit. And you can see the good, deep, rich color of it. This is the Lipton tea, the iced tea. Now, I will also buy tea that's on sale, store brands. I'm just making sure this is getting good and infused. And I will use this to make our iced tea. May last a couple of days, a couple of gallons, depending on who comes. You know how many guests I have that are tea drinkers. And sometimes Donald loves to drink iced tea when he's mowing. You know, that's an excellent tea. I'm getting the Harney & Sons cinnamon apple spice stirred up because that's the hot tea I'm going to have this morning. When the tea looks a good rich color like it is right now, and that's when I go ahead and add it to the tea jugs. Now you can sweeten this if you want to. You can put as much sugar as you want to. I've got a little bit of sugar in here, but you can put as much sugar as you want or don't want. That's a great thing about making your own tea. You control what's in it. Now I'm just going to divide the concentrate, kind of even it up. And you want to put the hot tea in your jug because your sugar is in there. If you put any sugar or sweetener, and if you use the hot liquid, it will help the sugar to dissolve thoroughly in there. So whatever sweetener, in this case it's just pure cane sugar. And of course I don't use a lot because I don't want a lot of sugar. But you can see how good and rich the tea looks. Now you can, I have an Epic water filter, and you can filter your water and it makes the tea so much better. I have, you know, the 1 gallon Epic water filter, so I don't have enough filtered today to use it in the tea. But I'm going to go ahead and fill the rest of this up with cold water from the tap. And this will make 2 gallons of tea. Refreshing tea for my family. They love sweet tea. Of course, it's nowhere near as sweet as it used to be when we were growing up. Now we know more about the sugar content and what it does to you, and so we limit it. Used to, we would put two whole cups of sugar to a gallon of tea concentrate and water, but now we do not do that. We probably put 1 cup or less per gallon. And sometimes I just make completely unsweetened tea. I love tea, and so now I love the flavor of it, and it doesn't matter to me if it has sugar or not. But if you find yourself not being able to get your food sweet enough, that means you've consumed a lot of sugar, and your tolerance and your taste buds and everything are craving more and more and more, because that's the thing about sugar. It's addictive. So if you find yourself wanting to add more and more and more sugar to make it sweeter, then just step back for a minute and start cutting back on your sugar. Believe it or not, if you do that, you'll start noticing the sugar more. When you cut back on it, you'll start actually tasting the actual sugar that you put in it. So now I've got 2 gallons of tea made up. I do sometimes do sun tea, but today I don't have a lot of sun out, and of course this is quicker than sun tea. We always had this growing up. We always had this with supper. And we drink it through the summer, especially. We drink it all year, but we especially drink it through the summer. And we used to make our tea in gallon glass jars that our milk came in. Mama bought milk from a farm, and so when we bought that milk, that milk came in glass containers, and we recycled them and used them. We took most of them back to the farm and exchanged, because the milk was cheaper if you brought your jar back. And then we used the others for things around the house, for storage, and then for making our tea. We'd use those glass jugs. That's what they called them in Appalachia. They were jugs, gallon jugs. I might have one around here to show you. I don't know if I have one sitting around or not, but if I do have a gallon jug, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Well, I did have one. Look at that. Here's a gallon jug. It's what we call jugs. Of course, it's a gallon glass jar. This one came with pickles in it, but I've had it for quite a while, so I've cleaned it, and there's no trace of any kind of pickle smell or anything. But this is what we grew up putting our iced tea in our refrigerator. We would make it in these gallon containers. And of course, learning to pour from this was an art form, right? Because you would have to hold the top and then hold the bottom, especially if you were young. We put our tea in these our whole life, so I don't remember us ever putting our tea in any other kind of container but a glass jug. And that's what we served our sweet tea in. Now, I remember making sweet tea late at night when everybody else was in the bed. And this is what I learned, how I learned that you can't put boiling liquid into a cold glass jar without it breaking. Because I remember one night I was making tea for the next morning, and I put the sugar in, poured the boiling tea in, and the whole jar cracked in the sink. Thank God it cracked in the sink, but I had to clean it all up, find another jug, clean it up, and make the iced tea for that night. I'm going to go ahead and put these in my little recycling container. For the recycling bin or the compost bin. That way they're out of the way. They can compost and I can take them out in either today or tomorrow. Yeah, but I broke our gallon jug, but we had a lot of them. We had a back porch. I was talking to Donald about this the other day. We were talking about how important our back porch was. Now, he had a carport, and they didn't really use their back porch the same way we did. We absolutely used our back porch. It went all across the back of the kitchen. You know, we had the federal style or colonial style, the 3 windows over 3, you know, with 2 front doors. I've shown you that old house before. So this was the old house that I grew up in. Of course, they've torn this down now, but you see we had the 3 windows over. This is my little sister. Look at her. She's about 9 years younger than me, and she was just like my baby growing up. And then we had the 2 windows on the bottom, and this was the original front door. When you went into this front door, you were in a little hallway, and the steps that goes upstairs were boxed in. So it didn't have a real fancy newel post or handrail or anything like that. This was a real basic house, and the stairs were boxed in, and then there was a big closet over here, and that was the family closet. You had one big closet in this house, and there were no more closets, right? So that's the way this house was. That's why Donald picks at me about our house being spooky. You know, when we went to the shopping on our anniversary shopping trip, he was showing me that cup that looked just like the house I grew up in. This is what he's talking about. Well, this house was like this. This was the living room right here, and they ended up adding another door so that you just walk right into the living room. This door, you would have a choice to go right into the living room or left into the bedroom. This was Mom and Daddy's bedroom down here. It had a fireplace. What you can't see, because this picture's got it chopped off, was there was a chimney on this end just like there was here. So we had a chimney on both ends. And then when you go upstairs, behind this living room was the kitchen. Well, the kitchen jutted out like this behind this house. It wasn't just square. There, you went through the door, and there was the kitchen that jutted out. And behind that kitchen, off of that kitchen was a porch. It had a cement floor. It had been poured, and it went the whole length of this back of this kitchen and area. So we had a huge back porch. You can see it better, kind of. This is my childhood picture. I didn't take a lot because I didn't realize how important it would be when I grew up. But then Donald bought this for my birthday, and this is an artist painting of a house, very similar style. And that is how the area around our house looked before it built up around it. Well, anyway, that big porch that was on the back of the kitchen was just like an addition to our house. It was a cement poured floor. It had a half wall in the front, and of course the back of the house was on this side, and then they built it in on the end. So it was just like had one open front, and it was screened in. And we used that back porch just like a living space. Daddy stored a lot of his tools out there. A lot of our groceries that needed cold storage was out there. It was just an important part of our living space. And so it would store like our jugs and that we made our tea in, and our different things that we cooked with and stuff that we didn't have room for in the kitchen. We had a big farmhouse kitchen, but there wasn't a lot of cabinets, and Daddy had built what cabinets were in there. He had built those cabinets in that house. I don't know. I guess they used Hoosier cabinets before we moved in, and we had a wood stove and an electric cook stove, and then Daddy built the cabinets. So it was a big kitchen. Our table was in the kitchen, and there were 5 kids and then Mom and Daddy, so there was 7 of us growing up. And usually there was a cousin or somebody that would eat with us occasionally. You know, I mean, on a regular basis, we had quite a bit of people in our house. So I said all that to say we used that back porch just like part of an addition to that kitchen. It stored things. It was just like a big storage area. It was our pantry slash storage. You know, even winter coats and boots and things were out there, you know, coming in and out. And that's the door Daddy usually came in when he came home from work. He would come in, he would park in the back and come in through the back porch and the back door, the kitchen. And I miss having a back porch. Donald and I were talking about it. Of course, we were having a deck built, right? So we're going to have a big deck out there. But I miss the covered storage part of the back porch. I just grew up and it was such a big part of how our kitchen functioned. I don't have a lot of that here. So that back porch was an integral part of our kitchen. I mean, it was just something that we stepped right out, and it worked for us for a lot. Like, you know, we would put our coolers out there and put the watermelons in it, or it would stay cool down on the cement floor depending on what time of the year it was, and different things we would just store out there and walk in and out. And it was huge. It was a huge back porch. It was more rectangular than it was square. So, but I was thinking about, you know, I don't really have the space. I live similar the same way, but I don't have the space of that big outdoor porch like we did growing up. And I really miss it in my kitchen that I'm styling today. Well, I'm going to have a glass of this iced tea. We've been running around. I got to take the kids to Dario and we ate lunch, and Lord, it was crowded. Now we just drink our tea just like that. No, not much lemon, sometimes a lemon, but most of the time we didn't have lemons. And they're a real treat to me now. I do like lemon in my tea occasionally. But a refreshing glass of iced tea is so good. You know, that it has L-theanines in it. L-theanines really help your body. They help your cells. And so you can look those up and find out the good things that are in tea. But that's just how we made the tea for our suppers when we were growing up. We didn't drink milk or anything else really at supper time. It was always tea. Now, when we were young, I think it was more water than anything. We had a little bit of Kool-Aid. Donald's family, they grew up on Kool-Aid when he was a kid. They had a lot of Kool-Aid. We never had very much Kool-Aid or anything processed like that. Daddy did like the Country Time lemonade. That was something we had occasionally, but most suppers we had tea. And I was watching some things on Appalachian. I love to watch the Appalachian channels because, you know, I just connect with them because, you know, I'm Appalachian, so I'm very interested in them. But they were talking about how soup beans or pinto beans were the staple of meals for Kentucky and some of West Virginia, and they named one other state. I forgot what it was, but it wasn't North Carolina. And I was thinking, man, they were a staple all across the Appalachians because North Carolina's also ate a lot of beans, North Carolina and Virginia. So, you know, I felt a little left out there because we eat a lot of soup beans growing up, or a lot of pinto beans. We just called them beans, you know, pintos. But then we had family that called them soup beans. That's really good. I run my tea. I put a second cup of boiling water, not boiling, but you know, just about boiling over my tea bag. So I've got a second use out of my Harney & Sons tea bag. And so I'll have that, and I'll probably have it cold too. It's already cooled off quite a bit, and I probably will just add it right into the ice after I drink this cup of tea right here. But I have definitely got to get back to sorting my things. I'm getting ready, before long to decorate for fall, autumn, and I don't really add a lot for fall and autumn, just some general touches into what I already have, because I have so much of the things that I already like that I don't want to tear them down just to decorate for a holiday. I just want to incorporate my holiday stuff in with my what I already live with on a daily basis. But I've got all my soup. I pulled out all of my soup bowls, all of my little things that we like to eat chili beans in, and soup. Some people like bigger ones than others. Some people like the cute ones. This one's going on into a little bit into Christmas, but that's okay. It's cute. It's a snowman. It by all means could snow in November, couldn't it? But I'm just pulling out and want these accessible so that we can eat soup out of them. They'll be ready. And I added these. I actually have the soup bowls that my kids ate growing up. I think I've showed them to you before. So the soup bowls that my kids ate out of when they were growing up is in this middle cabinet right here. It's these Cobalt soup cups right here. That's what we always ate out of when I had soup here. I've probably showed you these before, but I'm in here piddling around, so I'll just share it with you. And these are the ones they still look for when they come in here to eat soup or chili beans, which I hadn't had a real good soup gathering in a long time. That's what made me think maybe it's time for a soup gathering. And I'll have those to pull out. And then these are the ones I kind of pull too. Right here. They're just sitting right here. So I'll open this and grab one of these when I'm having soup. Now I need to really there's cookbooks back here behind, and those the cookbooks that I have used a lot over the years. These cookbooks in here on hand at the kitchen are cookbooks that I have, and these are all the ones I've put together of my own recipes and the things that I make all the time too. So I have things that I just really reach into here and get a lot out of this cabinet. I need to fix a cabinet that just has all soup bowls in it and nothing else. But I don't have that all together. That's what I have to get together. And then there's my spice rack Donald made for me. And, over here's the toaster oven and things that we use quite a bit. And I have got to find a place to put the soup bowls so that I can get to them. And here's just the regular bowls in this cabinet right here. It's messy looking, but here's the measuring cup that I use all the time. Funnels, and then the soup bowls that we just pull out and eat. Or the regular cereal bowls or whatever. We don't really eat cereal, but if we need a bowl, that's the bowls we go to. So I've just got to find a place that I can get my stuff together and get to it when I need it to make the meals that I need to make. So that's what I'm doing in here today. Trying to take the time to get it all together, and what I really use on a daily basis, have it at hand, and what I use on special occasions, be able to get to that. And over there is the rolling pin collection in that big basket, the wood stove that my uncle gave me, and all of the pots and pans that I use right here on this pot and pan rack. All of my utensils, all the things that I've got to get sorted out. And the things that I use on a daily basis or, on a regular basis, I need to have them at hand and easy to get to. So I'm really going to have to get in here and think about where what I need needs to be gotten to with ease. Now, summer cooking is a little different than winter cooking, fall and winter. Fall and winter, I cook heavier, I cook more, I bake more, have things on the stove that are simmering for longer periods of time. And I just think my cooking increases as the weather gets cooler, of course, because then it can help heat up the house. It's not going to cause a lot of the house to overheat, like it does in the spring and the summer. Now, in the spring and the summer, it's already so hot. I fix a lot of cool meals so that I'm not heating up the house. That has not changed. That's something that goes right along with how it was when I was growing up. You cook with the seasons. So, but as I am cooking more heavier, then I need to access more baking materials, more baking tools and pots and pans and all the things that I need when I bake. So, I'll have to make sure I can get to those easily and just do a lot of those things. That's what I'm doing in here today. Now, it's going to take me more than one day because there's a lot going on here. And while I'm in here redoing and everything, I'm also cooking meals and taking care of grandchildren. So, and ourselves, me and Donald, and ourselves and our animals out in back. So it's not like I have a huge chunk of time to dedicate to what I need to get done. And I think that's part of my problem. I've got to sneeze. I have shared with you before that my kitchen is only 10 feet by 10 feet. It's a square little kitchen. It's not big at all. It's really small. Think about it. 10 by 10 space. And that's not counting the dining area that Donald opened up in one of the bedrooms and made a dining area. It's not counting that. Just the kitchen part is pretty small. And I've got a lot going on in here. And I've got to get it all together. Over here I've got the window that Donald put in, and of course it goes all the way down the window. But then we had, when his grandma passed away, he got that handmade tea cabinet that belonged to her. Well, it was actually a pie safe, or just a cabinet, but probably a pie safe. And we use it to store all of our teas in. It's now a tea cabinet. Well, it don't store all of our teas, but it stores a lot of them. And so the only place we had to put it was right here beside of the in front of the window. Now, I had a choice of a dishwasher or a window, and I chose a window for the light. And I'm still not getting much of the light, but that's okay. I really enjoy the tea cabinet, so that's no big deal. So living in a house changes. It changes. When you live in it for a long time, you may make some improvements, but you have to learn to live in it. Not just aesthetic value. It can't just look good. This kitchen has to function, and it functions every day, several times a day, and it's a high activity kitchen, even though it's small. So that means I've got a lot of work to get in here and make sure that I keep it picked up and everything put in its place, and to put, design a place that I can put the things that I need and can get to. That's what I'm doing right now. I'll take you along on some of those days if I can, but when you film something, it takes you twice as long, or maybe even 3 times as long to get anything done, because not only are you creating what you want to make for the video and focusing on a point that's cohesive enough that viewers can understand what you're trying to say and what you're trying to do, but you have to stop, make sure you got a good view and a good shot and thousands of other things that you have to do when you're filming, so it takes a long time. And right now, I'm in the mode where I've just got to get some stuff done. It's important that I just get it done. But I will bring you along for the fall decorating. I hope you join me for that. And I thank you for joining me today, and let me share with you making the sweet tea and just talking with you today. I hope you have a great day. And like always, until next time.